Let's try to picture the Canadian subarctic for a moment.
It's a,
It's a landscape of absolute extremes.
oh, that's putting it mildly.
I mean, we're talking about a winter where temperatures don't just dip below -40. They can plunge to a truly mind-numbing -60 degrees Celsius.
And for half the year, that entire world is just swallowed by this deep, silent blanket of snow.
It seems impossible, and yet this is the realm of an incredible animal, the Canada lynx.
Right. People call it the winter ghost, and for good reason. It's an apex predator that has really perfected the art of survival out there.
It hasn't just survived, it's evolved to completely dominate its massive northern range all across Canada and Alaska.
And our mission today is really to unpack that, to get into the essential knowledge of how this elusive cat doesn't just cope, but actually rules in a place where, well, where almost nothing else can.
And before we get into its survival toolkit, let's just get a clear picture of the animal itself.
Yeah, that's a great point. Because when you hear apex predator, you might imagine something huge, a grizzly bear, a cougar.
But the lynx isn't that.
Not at all. It's the most northern-dwelling wildcat, yes, but it's actually pretty small. It usually tops out around, say, 15 kilograms.
So about the size of a big English Cocker Spaniel.
Exactly. I mean, compare that to its cousin, the cougar, which could be 6 times heavier.
Okay, so we've got a relatively small cat thriving in this brutal, brutal cold. The first problem it has to solve is just moving.
Mobility, yeah.
If you sink into that deep snow, you're just wasting energy, starve. So what's the primary evolutionary solution for that?
Well, it's probably their most famous feature, their paws. They're truly massive.
Almost comically so.
Yeah, cartoonishly huge. For an animal that weighs 15 kilos, the paws can be 10 centimeters across. Think about that. It's like a beagle having paws the size of paperback books.
That's a great analogy. So they aren't really walking on the snow.
They're floating over it. Those paws act like perfectly designed, perfectly integrated snowshoes. They just distribute the animal's weight.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting for me. This is a classic case of what they call convergent evolution, right?
It is, yes.
Because its main prey, the snowshoe hare,
Has the exact same adaptation, those big hind feet.
so if the hunter and the prey are both perfectly designed to float on the snow, doesn't that just cancel each other out? How does the lynx ever get an edge?
That is the fascinating part. The hare is all about quick bursts and then hiding. The lynx, though, it combines those snowshoe paws with a hunting style that is pure ambush.
So it's not a long chase?
Never. It's all about stealth. The lynx uses its incredible hearing, its sense of smell, to find the hare when it's resting, and then it uses that mobility for one massive, powerful pounce from the snow.
The paws get them into position silently, and the hunting style does the rest.
Precisely.
Let's talk about their other gear. That coat is legendary for its insulating power.
It's a fortress. The winter coat is made of 2 incredibly dense layers of hair, and it can be 10 centimeters long. Yeah, if you were to poke one, your finger would just disappear into the fur. It's enough to keep them warm, even when it hits that -60 mark.
But what about overheating? If you're that insulated, a vigorous chase on a milder day could be a problem.
That's a critical point.
Right.
And they manage it by basically minimizing any surface area where heat could escape.
Like their tails and ears.
Exactly. Look at them. They have very short tails. And those famous tufted ears are actually pretty small compared to other cats. They're designed to be as spherical as possible.
To reduce heat loss.
Any extra length would just be an invitation for frostbite.
And their body shape. You mentioned they're ambush predators, not long-distance runners. So why do they have such noticeably long back legs?
Ah, those hind limbs are the engine for the pounce. They're not for horizontal speed. They're built for explosive, vertical and diagonal acceleration.
So they can bound out of the snow?
They can achieve a tremendous pouncing radius. They launch themselves out of deep power or over bushes to land right on top of their target.
The entire design is just optimized for that one lethal strike.
Total specialization.
Which brings us to what might be the most defining and frankly kind of terrifying aspect of their whole existence.
There is diet.
Their diet. They aren't just efficient hunters. They are completely pathologically dependent on a single food source.
They are, and this is just incredible. One of the most specialized predators on Earth.
Okay, so how specialized are we talking?
In the northern parts of their range,
Hmm.
get this, one single animal, the snowshoe hare,
The same one they're competing with on the snow.
the very same one, it can make up to 97% of their entire diet.
97%. That's unbelievable. An average lynx needs, what, 3 hares a week? every single week.
That's right. Their whole world, their entire existence, revolves around the snowshoe hare.
And this relationship is what drives one of the most famous, most dramatic cycles in all of North American ecology.
The 8 to 11-year population cycle. It's an ecological clock set to feast or famine.
So when the hares are everywhere, the lynx thrives. Its population booms.
But when the lynx numbers get too high, the pressure on the hares becomes too much. And the hare population it collapses catastrophically.
And the numbers behind that collapse are just staggering.
They really are. You can go from a density of over 2,300 hares per square kilometer.
So the forest is just teeming with life.
Down to just 12 hares per square kilometer. And that can happen in less than 2 years.
That's a 99.99% decline. It's not scarcity. It's an instantaneous, absolute famine for the lynx.
It is. The bottom just drops out of their world.
So what happens to the lynx then? How do they even react when their food just vanishes?
Their population crashes right behind the hares. They're forced into these really radical survival modes.
Like what?
They become nomadic. They'll travel huge distances, sometimes up to 1,000 kilometers, just desperately searching for any little pocket where some hares might have survived.
A 1,000-kilometer march through the subarctic.
It's exhausting, it's dangerous, and honestly, most of them starve. And for the survivors, the females, they often just stop having kittens for a year, maybe 2.
They can't afford it.
They simply can't afford the energy. It's a reproductive shutdown that helps the population crash, which is, strangely, what the system needs.
So if you step back from the horror of it, this collapse isn't a flaw, it's the whole point. It's the mechanism that lets the hares rebound.
Precisely. The cycle is a form of brutal self-regulation. The predators disappear, the prey recovers. Then the lynx return, they reproduce like crazy, and the whole drama starts all over again.
It's been playing out for thousands of years.
A testament to the efficiency of nature.
So while the hare is 97% of their world, they're not completely inflexible, are they? They can be opportunistic.
Absolutely. Their bodies are built for hares, but they're not going to pass up an easy meal. They'll take grouse, they'll scavenge carrion.
I saw one observation of a lynx hunting a mallard duck.
Yeah, which is fascinating. It shows them using that same toolkit. The perfect camouflage, the immense patience waiting by the tree line, and then a quick strike. Maximum reward for minimum risk.
Let's talk about where they stand today. They seem to be doing okay in Canada and Alaska, but what about at the southern edge of their range?
It's a mixed picture. In the far north, their range might actually expand as climate change pushes the tree line farther up. But at the southern end, they vanish from their historical homes.
In the lower 48 states in the U.S.
Right. It was a mix of things, but mostly human impact. Habitat fragmentation from logging, overtrapping in the past. So they're officially listed as a threatened species there.
But not all hope is lost. There have been some successful reintroductions.
There have, yeah. In places like the Rocky Mountains in Colorado, they've had real success. And it all came down to making sure there was enough protected habitat that could support
a healthy population of snowshoe hares.
It always comes back to the hare.
You know, for all this talk of them being these fierce, specialized hunters, there's another side to them. They share some really endearing traits with our house cats.
It's a wonderful connection to make. They mate in the spring. The kittens stay with their mother for almost a full year, learning everything they need to know.
And behaviorally.
Oh, yeah. They stretch, they mark their territory, and they purr. They absolutely purr.
I love that. And there was that one story about a male lynx. I think his name was Lynx.
Yes. Researchers were trying to interact with him, and they actually tried mimicking his vocalizations, even purring at him.
And what happened?
The observation was that the lynx seemed to recognize it as, well, as a non-threatening, maybe even sincere attempt at communication.
That's amazing.
It just suggests that even this ultimate subarctic predator is still operating on a recognizable feline emotional level.
That detail, the idea that the winter ghost can purr, that it can read sincerity, that feels like the perfect place to wrap up our deep dive.
It really is. The Canada lynx is this masterpiece of extreme specialization, a creature just perfectly engineered for a life of cold and isolation.
Bound completely to the fate of this one small animal.
The magnificent snowshoe paws, that incredible fur, they make the lynx the undisputed ruler of its world.
Which brings us to the final thought we want to leave with you. Considering this dramatic 8 to 11-year boom and bust cycle we've been talking about, how does the lynx's extreme reliance on a single, fluctuating food source make it, at the same time, the ultimate survivor of the Arctic wilderness, and, paradoxically, its most vulnerable apex predator?